can you take equity out from a property more than once? Can you use equity from one property to buy another? Can you use the same property to buy 2 or 3 times? Hey guys, Dilleen here. Today I want to do another real quick video. This video is a question. So I love being asked questions because then I can do quick videos here and try to help you guys out there with just knowledge and information. The question was basically, can you take equity out 2 or 3 times basically? That was the short question. And I'm guessing the question stemmed from basically, you know, they've learnt you can use one property to buy another one, take the equity out, use it to buy another one. So in my experience, long story short, yes, you can go back to the same property and take equity out and use it to buy more properties multiple times. So I've done this on probably my first property. I probably took equity out of it 2 or 3 times. And basically it comes down to multiple factors and multiple things, but I'm going to give you an example. This is with the position that the person, I won't say their name or who they are, but basically they had one property essentially, and the property was roughly worth about 500,000. They only had a loan on the property for about 200K. So I was speaking to them and I was basically showing them what their options are. So I'm going to give you an example on the whiteboard here basically about how much equity that person could potentially take out. And if you're in a similar position, how you can work out how much equity you can actually use and how many properties you can actually use to grow your portfolio. So let's just say you've got a property roughly and it's worth about 500K. Now this scenario, the loan on the property was only about 200,000 left. So to me, it comes down to LVRs, loan to value ratios. Now there's another video on this, definitely check it out if you haven't seen it before, but learning loan to value ratios is extremely important. It's what brokers use, it's what financial advisors use. If you're a property investor or you're wanting to be a property investor, you've got to understand the term loan to value ratio. You've got to actually be able to figure out how much available equity you can use to buy property. So to me, the answer is very simple. If someone has a property that's worth 500K and the loan on it right now is 200K, the easy amount of equity that they have available to use is 200,000. Now you might be thinking, but they've got 300K worth of equity, Eddie. But you've got to do loan to value ratio. So LVR, you first got to work out what is 80%. Now you can sometimes take equity out higher up than 80%. I've gone up to 90% sometimes when I took equity out to then extract to then buy more properties. But if you go up to 80%, generally you don't have to pay LMI with certain lenders, like you won't have to pay LMI with certain lenders, but 80% of 500K, how I do the easy maths on that is basically what's 10%, it's 50K, 10% times 2 is 100K, so 100, which makes the LVR 80%, 400,000, 400 minus 200K is 200K available. Now, you could essentially use that 200K to go off, to me, you could go off and buy 4 properties with that, with 50K deposits as an example. So as an example, if you could take out 200K, and then let's just say we've took out 200K, we now have 200K, so we have 200K, the loan has basically gone up on the last one. So yes, our repayments have increased, but we now have 200K to invest and build our wealth, build our portfolio. So we've got 200K. Now, if I were to buy a property for, let's say, 300K, and I were to do a 10% deposit on that, it's only 30K. Stamp duty, legal fees, let's just say rental for 50. So all the expenses is 50. And I bought one property and still got 150 left. So you could go off and buy 4 properties worth 300,000, worth a total of 1.2 million, more or less, with just 200,000 worth of equity. Yes, you can do 10% deposits, you can do 20% deposits, but if a person originally in the initial position only took out 100K, then they still would have had 100K left sitting in that original property doing nothing. So they could go back the second time. If they only took out 100, they could go back later on and take out another 100. If the property, let's say, if the property that was originally worth 500,000, the loan was initially 200, right? Then we extracted equity, we took it up to 400,000. So the loan is 400K now, right? Value, loan, let's say another 5 years goes by, 7 years goes by, 10 years goes by, whatever. let's say the value is now not 500K. Let's say hypothetically 7 years or 10, let's say 8 years goes by, right? 8 years later, let's say the value is now not 500K, let's say it's worth 800,000. So now what does this do to our loan to value ratio? To me, it's simple. LVR is 50%. Now, assuming whoever's in this position, let's say that person went off and bought 4 properties as we mentioned before, and they got this one, so they've got 5 in total. If they wanted to go on another buying spree, then technically, yes, they could take equity out of this property. They could take it up to 80% again, which 800K, doing the numbers off the top of my head, 10%, 80K, 20%, 160. So 160 minus 800 is roughly 640. So they've still got technically 240K, over 200,000 to then take off, take out, and then buy another few properties. So that's the short answer to it, basically. If the property continues going up, yes, you can continue taking equity out. However, an important thing to understand with this is banks will not give you the equity out if you buy crap properties. If you buy properties and the rental returns are horrible, if you're the average investor in Sydney or Melbourne that thinks 4% yields are good, 3% yields are good, or 5%, odds are you're not going to be able to continue buying 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 30 properties like I have. It's a formula of buying properties that are below market value with growth that go up over time, and buying property with a high yield, because the high yield is what allows your borrowing capacity with the banks to allows you to be able to continue taking equity out and then growing your portfolio over time. Securely, safely, of course, with a strategy. You can't just go out there and buy, 20, 30 properties and not know what you're doing. The banks won't even lend you the money. So the problem with you've got 2 different issues with taking the equity out. You've got the equity component, which you can do, as we saw, but you've got to make sure whatever those 4 properties that we spoke about that were roughly 300,000 each, if they have a low yield, you're going to get stuck with finance. You're going to get stuck with getting loans. If they each rent out, if the property that you buy that was 300K, roughly, if let's say the average rental yield is 7% roughly, so the property's renting out for, let's say, $430 per week, hypothetically. Or if you've got a balanced portfolio, some might be cheaper properties, some might be more expensive. The more expensive properties you go, the lower the yield you'll buy, but it's about making sure your portfolio has a good rental yield overall. If it's 7 or 8%, you'll find you're going to be able to continue getting loans as long as you deal with the right lenders and you go from the different tiers downwards and your finances are in order. Yes, you've still got to have an income coming in from your job or business or whatever you do, but having a high yield allows you to continue buying properties. So short answer, yes, you can take out equity of one property multiple times, but you've got to make sure you can service to get the actual loan, and only if there's equity available. So hope this video helps. If you're after more information, send us through an email, give us a call. If you just logged on, if you just checked out this video, basically have a free ebook, 10 Properties by 25, which I wrote about 4 or 5 years ago. It's completely free. You can download it on the website. So thanks very much, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.